I know you worked very, very hard to get to the UFC. It seems like it took forever for you to get here. And then the run, I'm sure, hasn't gone exactly like you had hoped it would go. Give me just your thoughts on how you would summarize the journey so far in the UFC.
I guess my journey so far in the UFC, I would describe it as I haven't been able to show my full potential, and I feel like I'm really finally in a place that I can do that.
In fairness, you were fighting some absolute studs in the way, so it's not like you were fighting scrubs in there. So give me your thoughts on the fights themselves, not necessarily individually, but I mean, do you feel like it was something you weren't able to do, or was it just the level of competition? I mean, what do you feel is to credit for the results?
Definitely, I have to respect my opponents. Everyone comes in with their own set of skills. Holly Holm has been doing this for a phenomenally long amount of time, and she's one of I see her as being one of the Hall of Famers down the line, definitely. But more of it, for me, is about me not being able to, I guess, pull the trigger. I know I'm capable of so much more, and I've worked a lot on being able to do that. And I definitely don't think that I've been beaten by someone who has more skills than me. I think I was beaten by myself in my, I guess in my own inability to get out of my own head. I'm very hard on myself. I've always been open about that and about having mental health issues and that kind of stuff. So I am my own worst critic, and I kind of have doubted myself and my skills for a long time. But I'm finally at peace, and I'm in a place that I'm just happy to be able to have this journey and be able to fight the people that I have and gain the experience and to do what I love to do.
So when you started out by saying that, now you feel like you're finally in a position, is that what you're talking about, is really the mental state more than maybe any physical training or regimen or anything like that?
Yeah, I feel like I had a lot of issues from my childhood that I've never dealt with. And I know I've always been open about being bullied, and, I've had a lot of issues with my home life. My dad was an alcoholic. I think it's been like 6 years now, so I'm super proud of him that he's been sober. So that's amazing. But I've had a lot of demons from my childhood and growing up that I never have dealt with, and I kind of used that to fuel me throughout my early MMA career. But I kind of got to a point where, I'm at peace with that, and I kind of had never dealt with those issues, and it kind of just made everything kind of go to shit, for lack of a better word. I had a lot of anxiety about competing and about myself, and a lot of self-esteem and lack of confidence issues that, had been accumulating over time, I am the type of person that I take to heart what people say about me, and it does affect me just because, I'm a people pleaser. I want people to like me. I think everybody does, but I've kind of come at peace with that now, and I realize that I can't control what I can't control, and I just need to do me and be true to myself and be happy.
It's interesting because I know, Rob came out and talked about mental health issues and that sort of thing. So I think a lot of people are talking more about it. I think when we think about fighting, fans probably think about, jiu-jitsu practice, wrestling practice, conditioning, strength, all that sort of stuff. But the mental side is probably a bigger part of the game than most people realize. Would you agree that it's a huge factor in the sport that maybe people don't consider all the time?
Yeah, definitely. The mental side of the game is so important. But for me, it was always my who I am outside of fighting that affected my fighting. So I know you can have sports psychologists and stuff like that to help be able to perform, and I kind of have been able to do that, particularly in Invicta, but I spent a lot of time off, and I think it was kind of during that time that a lot of my own issues and my own insecurities kind of started surfacing a lot more, and it got to a point where we sat down with my team and we were like, something has to change, because weren't going to let me fight until they felt like I was in a better headspace outside of fighting.
Nice. Talk about now fighting here in Australia. I wonder, like, is it symbolic? You know, you talk about kind of this journey. I wonder if this, like, you know, coming back and almost resetting. I mean, I don't want to put too much of a story in there, but it kind of, does it feel like that kind of moment to you?
Yeah, it definitely feels like everything's kind of come full circle. I think it's been 4 years since I decided to be coached under James this month, and it's a month shy of 5 years since I fought in Australia. So I really feel like everything's kind of come full circle. I've dealt with so much, like the Megan that, you know, 5 years ago is so different. Like I've had so much growth in all aspects of my life over the past 5 years, and I'm just excited to be able to come back and finally fight for the UFC on home soil.
What do you think about the matchup itself? You're facing kind of a mystery fighter to, I think, a lot of people. How much do you know about her game, and what do you think about the matchup?
We've watched a little bit on Zara. She has some good skills. She has a really good jab. She utilizes her jab well. That she kind of sets everything up off that. She does a really good job of controlling the center of the cage. I know that it's been I think it's almost 2 years since she's fought, but you know, it kind of makes her a relative unknown. But I definitely don't think that she hasn't been doing anything during that time. Like I'm sure she's been training and improving, like I have also. So I'm expecting the best Zara to be in that cage, and I want that. I want to fight, you know, the best versions of martial artists that I'm standing across from. And like I am excited. I feel like this fight definitely I can finally showcase all of my skills and showcase a little bit of my potential.